As if being triggered and crying over a Blue Jeans commercial wasn't embarrassing enough, the woke left mob is now claiming that it's racist Nazi propaganda. That's right, they're accusing American Eagle of subtly promoting eugenics because it ran a Blue Jeans ad featuring Sydney Sweeney. Take a look at this segment that ran on Good Morning America.
Time to check the pulse. We begin with the backlash over a new ad campaign featuring actress Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, the ads are for American Eagle, and the tagline is, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Now, in one ad, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed actress talks about genes as in DNA being passed down from her parents.
The play on words is being compared to Nazi propaganda with racial undertones.
The pun, good genes, activates troubling historical associations for this country. The American eugenics movement in its prime between 1900 and 1940 weaponized the idea of good genes just to justify white supremacism.
Despite that backlash, American Eagle stock has been soaring.
Obviously very ridiculous. It wasn't just ABC. This is all over the left-wing media landscape this morning, according to MSNBC. This headline they ran, Sydney Sweeney's ad shows an unbridled cultural shift toward whiteness. Advertisements are always mirrors of society, and sometimes what they reflect is ugly and startling. I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like MSNBC is calling being white ugly and startling. So for those of you who haven't seen this ad, you're probably wondering what in the world is going on. Now, this is an entire campaign. It's not just one single ad. There are multiple posters as well as multiple spots that are airing on TV as well as social media. Here's just one of them.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Sydney Sweeney has great genes.
So obviously, there was a lot of focus, down here, and that's why Sydney said, hey, my eyes are up here. But that proves that they know that there is more to attraction than just your face, your skin color, your eyes. It's also about your body shape, right? And that's why I wanted to start with this ad, because when they're talking about attraction in this campaign, it's obviously multifaceted, and they obviously know who they're attempting to cater to. This reminds me, I'm a millennial, and many millennials in the channel, I'm sure you'll remember, from my perspective, when I was a kid, ads were a lot more sensual and sexual than they are today. I think Gen Z, that's why they're freaking out at this, because they're not used to seeing attractive, sexy people selling products. And that's exactly what they're doing here. I almost feel as if this entire campaign is made to be nostalgic for the ads in the 90s. Well, the one spot that got everyone talking and got all the woke mobsters riled up was this one.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has...
Really? That is what all the fuss is about? That is supposedly what's racist? Honestly, I think it's a really clever ad. What a great pun right there. Now, this entire controversy is also being ginned up, not just by the media, but by celebrities who are jumping on this Sydney Sweeney hate bandwagon. And one of the people leading the charge is superstar Doja Cat.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
First of all, I'm pretty sure Sydney Sweeney is not Southern. Second of all, making fun of the Southern accent, and I think she's trying to do a hillbilly or redneck impression. Again, as I always say on this channel, just switch the races. Would it be okay to make fun of how people talk in the inner city? Would it be okay to make fun of rappers and how they talk? Heck, imagine if a white superstar, I don't know, say Taylor Swift, started making fun of Zendaya the same way that Doja Cat was making fun, and she started doing an impersonation and mimicking Zendaya using an accent, using mannerisms that Zendaya doesn't even use in real life. We all know that Taylor Swift would be canceled like that if she did it, yet Doja Cat faces no repercussions, and it just goes to show us that there is a double standard here. But of course we all know this. Racism is apparently okay if it's aimed towards the right group of people, which is to say, white people. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting. And all over TikTok, that's where you're seeing these meltdowns. In fact, this one girl on TikTok said there's such a thing as good white people and bad white people. And this ad apparently exposes the bad white people for, I don't know.
Yep, that got me too. And I don't know why. Maybe because it's just so blatant. I keep thinking that people just are not gonna believe us until we're hung out there, but then even then I feel like they'll be like, oh no, kind of like they are with I see the same perpetual self-imposed victimhood. You know, I did a post about saying, hey, like, these are the action steps that we really need to see from the good whites, where I said I need protection, put my cash out. And she goes, well, would you just rather white women just not follow you at all anymore because da-da-da? And I'm like, yeah, definitely unfollow me. If you thought you being here and clicking a follow button was doing me a favor, same as that one guy, whatever his name was, descendant of the oppressor. He's like, well, Lindsay still does a good job and I appreciate her work and labor, so I'm going to still follow her. No, definitely unfollow me. If you are any type of person, but especially a white woman who's coming to this platform thinking you're doing me a favor by clicking a follow button, leave now. Immediately now. Because honey boo boo, not this person, I'm doing you a favor by showing up and calling you out.
Yeah, I think someone was onto something when they accused you of being a self-imposed victim, because that's apparently all she is. Look, I want to give a little bit of insight here because I feel like I have a unique perspective that not many people will have just because of lived experiences that will add even more context to this commercial. So I've been very open on this channel that I am an actor pursuing primarily film and TV, but right now my bread and butter is commercial work. In fact, many of you in the comments say, hey Daniel, I just saw you on TV, or hey, I just recognized you in this spot or in this project. Well, I've also done commercials specifically with celebrities. One of the more notable ones that probably everyone knows is Dolly Parton. Now, on the other side of that, my first job out of college was for an ad agency, and I ended up working for 3 different ad agencies before I decided to go full-time freelance to pursue acting. So the reason I point that out, the reason I say all of that, is because I have perspective on commercials from both the talent side as well as the agency side. And basically, there are 2 types of commercials, and I would break them down into 90% of commercials and the other 10% of commercials. So before I get to the 90%, let's start with the 10%. So as far as that Dolly Parton spot that I did, from conception, from the very beginnings of the idea, they knew that they wanted to use Dolly Parton to sell their product. In fact, the entire spot was a choreographed dance number to one of her songs. And so that's why they knew they wanted to use Dolly. And it was really fun learning the choreography, yada, yada, yada. But that is more of the exception. What happens 90% of the time is the ad agency as well as the end client, they come up with this idea. And the reality is that anyone could play any role in this commercial. So why do I bring that up? Because I would bet money on the fact that this commercial is one of that 90%, meaning that they did not have Sydney Sweeney in mind from the very beginning. They came up with this catchy jeans and jeans pun, right? And then I guarantee the ad agency said, well, who is going to help us reach our goal, which I said earlier probably is nostalgic ads trying to attract the male gaze. Well, who better to attract young white males than the hottest female celebrity in that generation, which is arguably Sydney Sweeney. Beyond that, young white girls probably look up to Sydney and want to be like her. And no matter how diverse the United States is, and obviously the US is still getting more diverse, let's not kid ourselves. White people are still the majority in this country. So if an ad and a brand are trying to reach the broadest audience possible, if they're trying to reach the largest contingent of people who are the most likely to spend money in their stores, common sense tells you it would be white people. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if I am right about that, then that means that any other celebrity could have done, would have been considered for this commercial. Let's say Zendaya did this spot and the voiceover said, Zendaya has good genes. Do you think there would be an outcry over that? Do you think people would be crying racist and Nazi and eugenics at the top of their lungs? Of course not. We all know the answer to that. This spot is just about good-looking people, and looking good, feeling good, dressing good. That's what it's about. Good looking comes in different forms. There's a large variety when it comes to good looking. Good looking does not mean white and white alone. They never implicated that in this ad. And in fact, that's why the first commercial I showed was focused on her breasts, because it was focused on body shape, right? Like, that was the whole point of that first one. And by the way, the ad agency for sure knows this, because one of the spots is definitely a wink, wink, nod, nod to the industry and how the industry works. But before I get to that, take a look at this other meltdown that happened. And what's funny to me is it's very clear that the people who are freaking out the most are people, no offense to them, who clearly would never shop at American Eagle.
I will be the friend that's too woke, because those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird. Like, fascist weird. Like, Nazi propaganda weird. Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda. I also am thinking about, like, all of the young girls who are doing their back-to-school shopping right now at places like American Eagle who are seeing ads like this. Yikes. Also, American Eagle is mostly a brand that, like, teenagers to, like, young adults shop at, and so the fact that, like, this type of advertising is being used that feels so for the male gaze and so over sexualized, like, I just don't like it. I don't like it even a little bit. Bro, and I haven't even mentioned the fact that this entire ad campaign that Sydney Sweeney is doing right now is incredibly reminiscent to the Brooke Shields Calvin Klein jeans ad campaign that she did when she was 14 years old. That was extremely over-sexualized and weird. Yeah. Why are we referencing that? Why are we referencing that? I thought we agreed that that was weird that they had her do that. So we got a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman talking about her good genes in an ad campaign that is a reference to a 14-year-old Brooke Shields, Calvin Klein's ad campaign that we've all agreed was really weird and predatory. Yeah, I don't like this one. I don't like it. I don't like anything about it, actually. Nope.
Personally, I think I have good genes. I'll say it. And it's not about looks. I'm just like, I'm generally happy with my health. I'm happy, like, with my cognitive function. I would say I have good genes. I don't think that makes me racist. I don't think that makes me an Asian supremacist. If you think you have good genes, leave a comment down in the comments section below. In today's video, before I show you that inside joke that is clearly coming from the ad agency, I would like to acknowledge Prisen Kolnan, Sinane Kuso, Colleen Daly, Jenny Rankin, and Somers35 as the members of today's Governor's Club. These are people, of course, who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I am so glad that you enjoy. Well, in the entertainment industry, when it comes to commercials, there is like this joke that goes around that it's not about your talent, right? So as an actor, you're training really hard, working on your craft, just trying to have the highest skill level possible. But when it comes to commercials, let's be honest, they cast commercials based off of looks and not based off of your talent. And so that is a joke that goes around. Well, when you're auditioning for commercials, they have you do what is called a slate. And I actually have an example of a slate. I obviously have edited this, so you guys don't have my personal information. So if you notice some weird jump cuts or anything like that, that's why. But this is what a slate looks like. Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm 5'11". I'm based and I can work as a local hire. Some slates get more specific than that, but that is the general breakdown. And again, the joke in the industry is that it doesn't matter what your skills are. It doesn't matter how good you are at your acting craft. Commercials are all about looks, and they're all about good genes. So take a look at this spot that Sydney Sweeney also filmed for this campaign.
Hi, I'm Sydney Sweeney, and I'm from Spokane, Washington. I can work as a local hire as well, though, and I am available for the American Eagle jeans campaign shoot.
Profile and hands, please. Thanks. We'll be in touch.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
Next.
So obviously they're definitely poking fun at the industry here. At the end of the day, it's all about like looking good, dressing good, feeling good. And again, looking good does not equal white and white alone. But as always, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So, do you think that you have good genes? Yes or no? Leave your comments down in the comment section below. Now, look, I know some people, and I've read comments. I still read everyone's comments over the years. I know there are some disabled people and people battling other forms of illness and all of that. And I want to be very clear. I'm not diminishing or trying to overlook any of that. I think from my perspective, and I could be speaking from a place of privilege, and if I am doing this ignorantly and not out of malice. But I think for me, I am just so grateful to be alive. Don't get me wrong. I think life can be better. Like, I'm aspiring towards bigger and greater and whatever things. But I try to be thankful for where I am in this moment. And I'm thankful to have the body that I have. Does that mean I think I'm the most attractive person or the most athletic person or the smart? No, it doesn't. But I think for me, it's just always practicing gratefulness and thankfulness. And the reason I feel like we see these leftist meltdowns is because of jealousy. Not only are they programmed to hate from the media and from the Democrat Party, but there's this deeply rooted self-loathing. And I think whenever they see someone who doesn't look like them or someone else who's successful or attractive, I think you combine that hate with jealousy and it gets toxic really fast. Just my opinion, but that's what it looks like to me. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more people like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.